Why the strength is low? Good afternoon, Devika. Good afternoon, Chandana. Good afternoon, Parvati. Remaining will join. Yeah, I think we should wait for 2-5. We'll wait till 2-5. Then we'll see. Yeah, 2 minutes. We'll wait till 2-5. I think we should start the class now. We'll begin with our class. Okay, everyone. That's good, Parvati. Okay, so today's our topic is symbolic constants, formatted input output, and statics. Okay, so we'll begin with symbolic constants. Okay, before that, I just need to know one thing. What do you guys understood by constants? What do you guys understood by constants? You can unmute yourself or you can use the chat box. I just want to know that how many of you guys understood the constant? What is a constant? Fixed value, right? That's right, Parvat. Fixed value. So in Java, we have constant as uh, symbolic constant. We name constant as symbolic constant. Yeah, fixed or unchanged variable. You're right. You're right. You're right. Okay. So in Java, we have some rules for that constant. Okay, I'll just show you one PPT. What are the rules for that symbolic constant? Okay, so I'll present my screen now. Okay, I guess this screen is visible to you guys now. So symbolic constant in Java are named as constant. So the symbolic constant and constant are nothing but the same. Okay, but in Java, while declaring a constant, we use final keyword. Okay, while declaring a constant in Java, we use final keyword so that compiler can know whatever we have declared over here is a constant. Okay, so that by reading this final keyword, compiler will know the value will remain constant throughout the program. And after that, whatever the name we gave to the our constant, okay, whatever name we give to our constant, it should be in uppercase. Okay, whatever the name you give to your constant, it should be in uppercase. And the naming system is similar that we cannot use any special character except underscore, and no space should be between them. Okay, so what thing you should remember while declaring a symbolic constant, always use the final keyword so the compiler can know that whatever you have declared is a constant which will remain constant throughout the program. Okay, and after that, whatever in the name you give to your constant, whatever name you should you give to your constant should be uh, in uppercase and no space, and there should be no space between them. Okay, so the syntax, you can see the syntax over here for that constant, which says final. See here, final is the keyword, final is the keyword, and after that, type, which type of symbol you want to sorry, which type of uh, constant you want to assign, which type of constant you want to assign. And after that, here is symbolic name, here is the symbolic name, any name you want to give to your constant variable, and after that equals to value, any value. Okay, so let's see how constant behave in a program. Okay, how constant behave in a program. So is the compiler visible? Is the compiler visible? Just let me
Yes.
know. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so we'll just take one new project, and after that, we'll check we have the new latest version or not, and just click next and check on the checkbox. And next, after that, give a name something. Let's name this as let's name this project as kite. Okay, and give this package name as Kakinada. Okay, Kakinada, and finish. So this how, okay, we'll take new window. So this is our interface for programming. Okay, our compiler. So you can see here we are here with our package file, right? This is our package file. This is our main method, and inside that main method we have, oh, sorry, we will declare a constant. So for declaring a constant, we should start with our keyword, final keyword. Final is our keyword, and after that, let's give a constant of string type. Okay, and remember one thing while giving this, while writing this data type string, s should be capital, but in just only in case of string, only in case of string, this s should be capital. And after that, variable names, let name this as this Bobo, and let's give a value, string value. Let's say what is this? kW is better than main kite. Yeah, what happened? What happened? Nothing, no? Okay, so this is our string, and we'll end this with a semicolon. So now if you want to print this, so for printing we use SOUT, right? System out println. After that, just write this variable name and run it. Okay, you can see here it's building means compiling. Okay, and see in the output box you can see kW is better than main kite. Okay, so what if I try to reassign this constant variable, right? This is our constant variable. Popo is our constant variable. So if I want to reassign some value for this, okay, equals to, let's say, no, it's not. So it's not. And with semicolon, right? And with semicolon. So if it is possible or not, let's say, is it possible or not? I'll just give you a data type. Okay, so here we are with our data type. Okay, now let's run this and let's see what output we get. It's building, see. So you can see in the variable popo is already defined in the main method. Okay, so it's saying that already a value for this variable popo is already declared. Okay, so let's go to basic. What I told you guys. What I told you guys that if we declare a constant with final keyword, the value of it will remain the same. You cannot change it, right? But what we are doing here in the next line, in the 7th line, we are reassigning it with new value, right? We are reassigning it with a new value. This is no, it's not. It's a new value. But for a compiler, for the program, it is not possible because we have already assigned one value. So that's why it's showing an error that variable popo it's already defined in the main method. Okay, so understood this? Understood this first point, that you cannot redefine it. Symbolic name means capital letters, sir. Okay. So I guess everyone understood this point. So we'll go next and check. Uh, what if I don't provide value to this constant over here? I'm not providing this value to this constant over here. I'm providing it in the next line. I'm not providing where I declared this value. I'm providing it in next line. Okay. So let's see what happens. So you can see the value we assign in the second line, next line. It is read by the program. It's read by the program. Okay. So keep one thing in mind, that we can only assign a value to a constant once. Okay, we can only assign that value to the constant once. Here in the 7th step, we have assigned value to this variable popo. So after that, you cannot assign the value, okay, to this variable. And keep in mind that you can assign that value at any point of the program. Okay, just keep in mind that the value cannot be changed. That value cannot be changed. Okay, so this is how symbolic constant works. This is how symbolic constant works. Yeah, do you guys want to take screenshot of it? Okay, I'll just rearrange it and just take a screenshot for your understanding. Okay, AW is better and run this. Okay, please take this screenshot for this so you guys can remember the syntax. Okay, I guess so. A small request, can you please change the theme? Okay, 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 I'll do that. Is it okay now? Is it fine, Shravanti? Okay, 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 okay. So yesterday we have completed that, right? Formatted output. You guys understood that formatted output? So the difference between println and printf. Well, println only print on one argument, and printf, with the help of printf, you can print multiple arguments. Okay. And in the println we use plus sign. In println we use plus sign, and in printf we use comma only. That's it. Okay. That's what the difference between println and printf. So let's move to the next topic, which is statics. Okay. So is this visible? Is this slide is visible? Okay. Okay. So static. The static keyword is in Java is used for memory management. We can apply Java static keyword with variable method blocks and nested class. The static keyword belongs to the class instead of that object. Class instead of that object. Okay. You guys already understood the concept of memory management, right? Memory management. Yeah, we okay. I'll explain again, no problem. Okay. So let's say if I can eat only 3 chapatis, right? I'll repeat that same example again, which I explained in the let's say in the class. So what we will do is, sorry, what I did is I can eat only 3 chapatis and I took 5. I can eat only 3, but I took 5, right? Then what about the rest of the 2? It will get waste, right? It will get waste. So what should I do? I should take only that much what I can handle, right? What I can handle. So similarly, we can do in Java is whatever memory space you required, it will be provided you once, right? If you declare a variable as static, if you declare a variable as static, the memory allocation will done only once. Okay, it cannot be changed throughout the program. So that's why by using static keywords, you can make your program memory efficient. Okay. So that's how static keywords help you in memory management. Just a sec. Okay. So you can name variable, method, blocks, and nested class as static. You can name variable, method, blocks, and nested classes at static. But now, for now, we'll just focus on variable and method. Okay. For now, we'll just focus on variable and method. So as I said earlier, if you attach a static keyword to a variable, that keyword will become a static variable. If you attach a static keyword to a variable, okay, if you attach a static keyword to a variable, it will become a static variable. So consider it as a common thing. Okay, let's say you guys are like around, you guys are around like 75 people, right? 75 people are present in this meeting right now. So among these 75 people, there are one thing is common. There's one thing in common, that you guys belong to kite women's, right? Among the 75 people, there is one thing in common, is you guys belong to kite woman. So consider that kite woman as an static variable, and you guys are object, right? Consider that kite woman as static variable, and you 75 guys are object, right? So this is your this kite woman is your common property. So you individually can access that property, right? Kite woman. So you can Pooja can say I'm a student of kite woman. Shravanti can also say that I'm student of kite woman, right? So everyone can access that kite woman static variable. So this is the property of static variable, is that each and every object can access that static variable. This is one of the property of a static variable. Understood? Understood this property? Confused? Confused? Repeat once again. Okay. So what I'm saying is, yeah, between these 75 people who are present in this meeting, between those 75 people present in this meeting, there is one thing it's common, that you all belong to the kite college, right? You all belong to that kite woman college. Yes, I'm repeating that only. I'm repeating that only. Okay. So you all 75 guys have one thing in common, that you guys belong to kite women's college. Okay. So this Sridevi can say that I'm a student of kite women's. Ramaya can also say that I'm student of kite women's. Similarly, Lakshmi can say that she belongs to kite women's, right? Similarly, Pujita can say that she belongs to kite women's. So what are you guys doing is, you are individually accessing that college name, right? You guys are using that college name, that you guys are belong to kite women's. Understood this much? What are you doing? I'm saying that you guys are saying, I mean, you guys are belong to kite women's. Okay. So consider that kite woman as your static variable. Consider that kite woman as your static variable, and you guys are methods. You guys are methods. So these methods can individually access that static variable, right? This individual methods can access that static variable separately. So this is one of the property of static variable. Yeah. Okay. So many of you guys understood this much, I guess. Okay. So see the next property, that static static variable get memory only once in the class area at the time of class loading. This means that, okay, this means that whenever you are typing your program, whenever you are creating a class, sorry, whenever you are coding the class programming, whenever you are coding that class programming, you can allot memory only once to that static variable, right? Whenever you are coding, whenever you are loading that class, right? Whenever you are loading means programming or coding. Whenever you are coding or programming that class, you can only once allot that memory to the static variable. Understood this point? Okay, there's nothing to understand. This is just a set of rule. Okay, it says that the static variable get memory only once in class area at the time of loading. You can only you can only allocate memories to a static variable once while coding the class. That's it. You can only allocate that memory to the static variable only once. Okay, that's it. So we'll now see static method. Static method. Okay, so a static method. See here, see on my cursor. A static method belong to the class rather than object of a class. Okay, so static methods only belong to the class in which they are declared. Okay, static method only belongs to the class in which they are declared. These are points to remember. This is total theoretical lecture. That's why it is getting bored now. Okay, but just keep in mind that static variable, oh sorry, static methods belongs to the class in which they are declared, not to the object. Okay. The second point is a static method can be invoked without need of creating an instance. Means the second point means that to access this static method, you don't have to create any object. Okay. To creating this static method, to make this static method function, to make this static method function, you don't need to create any object. Creating an instance means creating an object. Okay, this creating an instance means creating an object. Okay, so the second point says that when you want to uh, make this static method function, okay, when you want to this make this static method function, you don't need to create any object. Okay, confusing or you guys understood? Confusing or understood? Still confused or understood? This is just point that you need to remember. Okay, just remember those points. You don't have to write in the exam. Okay. Next point says that static method can access static member only, can change the value of it. Okay. So that particular step means, like particular last line means, if uh, if I'm teaching to you guys, okay, in college, if I'm teaching to you and you are second year, right? If I'm teaching to you second year, so I'm second year faculty, right? If I'm teaching to you second year guys, so I'm second year faculty. So that's why I can teach first year, right? But I can teach you. If I'm second year faculty, I can't teach to first year. I can teach to you guys only. So similarly, that point says that I can means I am what? I'm static method. I am static method and you guys are static variable. So I can only access you guys only. Understood this point? If I'm static method and you guys are second year, I'm second year faculty, you guys are second year student. I can only teach you guys only. So this is how static method works. I cannot I cannot access any other variable except static variable. I can change that value. I can do whatever I want with that static variable. I can treat it as normal variable. Understood this third point? Understood this third point or not? Okay. Okay, Parvati. What about the rest? Okay. So now I officially declared that whatever theory part we have to do is over. We'll now directly jump to our programming. Okay. Whatever theory we have to study, we have done with the theory. We'll directly jump to our programming now. So, how many of you guys have laptop and can perform the programming now? Just give a thumbs up or just say something in the chat box. How many of you guys having laptop with you now? Okay, just two guys, Geeta and Shravanti. No worries. You guys can perform what I'm performing here. Rest, just focus on the monitor. Okay, focus on the screen. So we'll start with now operators. Okay, operators. I know we have studied the theory already, but now we'll perform the programming. Okay. So first we will see arithmetic operator. Okay, arithmetic operators. So what are the arithmetic operators? You know what are arithmetic operators? Yeah, plus, minus, division, modulus. You're right. You guys are right. Definitely right. Yeah. So, yeah, everyone is right. So I guess everyone knows the what are operators. Then let's directly jump to our compiler. Let's make another module with how do we make? Just go on to our project name, right? You can see a source file over here, extended source file. See our package file name. Right click, new. Okay, and a new Java class. Name something. Let's name principal dot Java. This is our new module.
The screen is not visible, sir.
Okay. My bad, my bad. Is it now?
Visible, sir.
Okay. So here we have created a new class with class name principal, right? And for that we require main method, right? Public static void main. Enter psvm enter. Let's perform some arithmetic programs. So let's find area and perimeter for a rectangle. I know you guys have done this program like a million times before. Still, we will perform to clear our basic. Okay. No one will cry now, sir. I have already done this. I will do not focus. Focus now for now. It is for your understanding only. Let's take variable of length. So the length variable of value. Let's take 20. Okay. 20 and breadth variable. Let's BRATH breadth equals to 10, right? So we have taken length and breadth of a rectangle, right? And we'll find an area. Int area. So what is the formula for area? Yeah. What is the formula for area of rectangle? Yeah, L into B. You're right. We'll just do length into breadth, comma. And what is the formula for perimeter? Perimeter. Formula for perimeter. Array it's 2 into. Yes, we are right, Sita. 2 into length plus breadth, right? Sum of all sides. So now here we have performed area and perimeter, right? So now we need to show the output. For that, let's just use printf this time. Printf, okay? So for that, we need a quotation. Area is equals to, for integer we use percent d, right? For integer we use percent d, and perimeter is equals to use percent d, okay? And after that we use comma area breadth. So I guess this statement is complete.
Sir, it's perimeter.
Yeah, it's perimeter. So let's see what output we get. Okay. So in the output, yeah, I wrote breadth. Array, where you see breadth? Where did you saw breadth? Okay. So it doesn't matter. It's just a variable name. Okay. So see, when I run this now, it was showing the previous output, right? KW is better is the previous output. But we are working in this module, right? It is so in that main block, we should there should be this Java file, right? So for that, we'll go in the package file, right? Click on our Java file, then right click, and we will run it as main. Okay. After running it as main, we can see our area is 200, right? 20 into 10 is 200 and perimeter is 10. What? So the perimeter is 10, huh? No, it's not. Sorry, I used here breadth. I should use perimeter. Perimeter. Okay. So now it will show the output, I guess. So after running this program, yeah, so now it is proper, right? Okay, so this is what you guys were warning. You wrote area perimeter, sir. You wrote breadth. Okay, okay, Sita. Now get it. Now get it. Thank you, huh? Thank you. So with this simple program, we used arithmetic operators, multiplication, and addition, right? So here we have performed a program with the help of arithmetic operator. Please take a screenshot of this and perform it at home. Okay. Please take a screenshot and perform it at home. Done now? That's good. Okay. So we'll create one new file for our next program. Go on this package file, right click, new Java class. Let's make something as vp.java. Here we have created a new class with class name as Java, right? After that we will enter a main file, main method. So now in this program what we are doing is, we are swapping number. Okay, swap. You know swapping. If I take a equals to 10 and b equals to 5, after swapping, my value of a should be 5 and for b it should be 10, right? You are right, Sita. You are right, Sridevi. So we are performing this operation. So for swapping, right? For swapping, definitely we are going to require two variables, right? And for that swapping, we will be requiring one third variable, empty variable for transfer. Okay, let's see how it works. Okay, so this is our interface, and this I am introducing one variable int a equals to 10. Okay, and b equals to, let's say, 5, and an empty variable c. Okay, and after that what I'm doing is I'll assign this empty variable c a value of a. So c equals to a. C equals to a. Whatever value we have in a, we have 10 in a, right? So it is transferred to c. Now a becomes empty, right? Now a became empty. So in empty a, we will put the value of b. So now 5, which was in b, it transferred to a, right? And now b became empty. So now in this empty b, we will put the value of c. Yeah, we will put the value of c and we will close it. So now here we have assigned the value to a and b respectively. So now we need to be sure. So we will print these values. SOUT will print a first. Yeah, and after that we will print b. Okay, and let's see the value are swapped or not. Okay, let's go with the proper dialog. in double quotation we'll use value of p, okay, and with plus sign, okay. We use plus, in println, and in this quotation value of a, quotation close and with plus sign. Yeah, and let's check if we have the proper program or not. So we'll run the VP as main, and after running, this is the output we are getting, right? Okay, just modify this, and run it again. Okay, see it's building, and after building, the output is like this. So in A we were storing 10, right? So but after swapping, the value is 5 in A, and in B we had 5. So after swapping, we have 10 in B. Okay, so I guess you guys understood this simple swapping program. Yeah, please give me a thumbs up if you guys understood, and please take a screenshot of this. Please take a screenshot of this program, and if understood, just mention, or not, still mention. Okay, okay, everyone, that's great. Okay, that's great. So here we have used assignment operator in previous program. In this principal program, we use assignment operator, multiplication and addition. Sorry, arithmetic operators, multiplication and addition. And in this we used, what we used? Assignment operator equal to. Okay. After that, we'll perform one more program. Okay, we'll perform one more program to understand increment and decrement operator. Okay. Let's say HOD.java. This is our file HOD, and in this we will be requiring public static void mean. Yeah, and in that I'll declare an variable int I equals to, let's say, 4. I declared a variable I equals to 4. Now I'm incrementing I. Now I'm incrementing I as plus plus I. Okay, and after that I'm printing it. SOUT I. Now I'm printing I. Right? I should. Yeah. Yeah. I should run it as mean. HOD file as mean. So you can see in the output, we first we declared I equals to 4, right? Then we incremented it, and after that we printed its value as 5. Okay. So I'll write couple of more statements. Similar, couple of more statements, that plus plus I and I plus plus. Okay. These are my 3 statements. First, I'm printing this I plus plus, and again I'm doing I plus plus. After that, in the third, I'm doing I plus plus. Okay, in the output you can see it is printing 566. First we did plus plus I, right? We incremented 4 by 1, so it printing 5. Again we did plus plus I. Again we incremented, so that's why it's printing 6. But in the third we incremented, right? we definitely increment it using plus sign, but still it is printing as 5. Yeah, still it is printing as sorry, still it is printing as 6, 5 6 6. So can any one of you tell me why? Can any one of you guys tell me why it is printing like that? You can type or you can just unmute yourself. You can type or you can unmute yourself, guys. Yeah, who's this? Parvati. You are right, Parvati. You're definitely right. First is pre-increment, next is post-increment. Yeah. Yes. Yes, Pavni, you are also right. Okay. For rest of the guys, I'll explain. Okay. For rest of the guys, I'll explain. Yeah, according to its pre and post. Yes, you are right. You are right. You are right. So what is happening over here is if I use plus plus I, if I use plus plus I, then what happen is first the value get increment, first value get increment and then stored, right? Stored or displayed. Do you can do anything. Okay. For plus plus I, first the value get increment because of the pre plus plus. Okay, this pre plus plus, because of this pre plus plus value get incremented, right? And because of this I is in second place, means at the end, so that's why it's stored in the second time at the last. So if I use I plus plus, so if I use I plus plus, what happened is first the value stored, first the value gets stored, right? And after that it get increment, after that it get increment. So that's why the value, so that's why the output is as 566 here, pre-increment, right? Pre-increment. So that's why in the first statement it was giving 5, and the second also pre-increment, right? Pre-increment, that's why it is 6. But in the third statement it is post increment, that's why it is printing 6 stored value. Yeah, understood this much? Rest of the guys, rest of the people. What about Kirti? What about Akansha? What about Soumya? What about rest of the guys? Okay, that's great. That's great. So here we have seen arithmetic operator, assignment operator, and increment and decrement operator. Okay. In tomorrow's class, we will deal with bitwise, boolean, and let's see what we can find. Okay. So for now, um, for now, I want you guys to go through this link and give me feedback. Okay.